Hi guys, how are you doing? Just checking everyone can hear me and see me. Nice to see you all. Thanks for joining everyone. Right, so my name is obviously Tom Harrop. I'm the founder of TJ Tutors. We're having our session today on the following written exam techniques that we're going to look at for 11 plus, diving into some skills with inference and just some of the things that you can start to work on and improve with your writing. Okay, right, so we'll get started in a moment. Let's just get first of all thinking about what the main skill we're looking at is. Okay, so one of the main skills that we are using when we're approaching these comprehension papers is inference. So in the chat, if people want to try and write what they think the definition of inference could be, that'd be really, really useful. Okay, so what does inference mean? What do people think inference means? What could it mean to infer? Okay, good. Right, hopefully a few people have written their answers in there. Now, to infer, it means to reach a conclusion based on evidence and reasoning. Okay, so what's really, really important is to understand the actual definition of inference and how you can start to use inference in your comprehension papers. So it's really using evidence to kind of make an assumption and kind of base an answer, if you will, on that evidence. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to have a little look at some of the different techniques that you can start to use when it comes to your comprehension tasks, when you've got to use some inference, when we're working on kind of those written comprehensions, how we can start to understand what the question's asking for. Okay, so the main skills here, and it might be worth writing these down, guys, just because it's going to be important to kind of go through these as you're studying this session. The first thing is to look beyond the obvious. The second tip is to use context clues. The next is to ask why questions. My fourth tip is to combine clues across the text. And then the fifth sort of technique that you can start to use here is to focus on dialogue and actions. Okay, so we're going to start looking beyond the obvious. Okay, so inference is about reading between the lines. We want to focus on what the author is actually implying rather than just what they explicitly state. Small details will often hold hidden meanings. So let's get started with our first activity, guys. Okay, so just looking at this short extract here, we're going to try and look beyond the obvious. Okay, so Lena slammed the door and threw her bag onto the couch. She stormed into the kitchen, yanking open the fridge. The milk carton was empty. Again, she sighed, pressing her fingers against her temples. Now, I've got you some questions here, guys, to get you thinking about this. And if you want to try and write some of these down in the chat, that'd be brilliant. Try and get what you can. Try and write as much detail as you can. If you're doing it at home on just some paper, that's fine as well. I'm going to give you the answers shortly. But I just want you to first of all think about what can we infer about Lena's emotions? What might have happened before this scene? Who do you think, why do you think the empty milk carton is significant here? Okay, guys, I'm going to just give you a bit of time now to have a go at working on some of these, okay? Okay, guys. So, some of our answers here. What can we infer about Lina's emotions? Well, we might think that she is clearly frustrated or angry. The fact that she slams the door, throws her bag, suggests that someone or something maybe upset her before she arrived home. The empty milk carton, that might be a small problem, but her reaction shows that it could be the last straw in an already bad day. We can infer that this isn't the first time it's happened. She sighs, she holds her temples. This is a sign of repeated frustration of things that have gone wrong for her. Okay, so these are just some of the details here just to think about what we can infer. Now, let's jump back into our next skill. So trying to use context clues, okay? So paying attention to the surrounding sentences or the paragraphs to understand unfamiliar words or situations. Context often reveals key information about the text, okay? So the first thing we're going to have a little look at is our next extract here, okay? So it's to use context clues. So here is a word that it doesn't really make sense. But I want you to try and understand the context of it, okay? So the sky was filled with Glorvix clouds, casting an eerie darkness over the town. People hurried inside, locking their doors. A strong wind howled through the empty streets. Okay? What might Glorvix mean based on the context? What words in the passage help you decide this, okay? So just a bit of time now, guys, if you can try and have a go at working on this for me and see what you can get shortly. Okay, guys, let's have a little look at some of these answers here, okay? So Glorvix likely means stormy, dark, threatening, because the passage describes people hurrying inside, locking their doors, suggesting that they fear the bad weather. The words eerie, darkness, strong wind, howled, these all suggest a storm or something ominous coming, okay? Right, our next skill, asking why questions. So always ask yourself why something is happening or why a character is behaving in a certain way. This helps to uncover deeper motivations and emotions. So, why questions? Tom hesitated before answering, his fingers tapping nervously on the table. I I didn't see anything, he muttered, avoiding Mr. Carter's gaze. Why is Tom hesitating here? What can we infer about his emotions? Do you believe he's telling the truth? Why or why not? So again here, guys, this is just a chance for you to kind of write your answers down. If you want to put some info in the chat, see if you can try and get a few ideas here, okay? What inferences can you make from the text? What deeper understanding can you kind of get from the explicit detail that's just in front of us? Spend a bit of time now seeing if you can get your answers for me. Okay, right. So let's have a little look at some of these reasonings behind why these things are happening. Okay, he's obviously nervous. He's possibly hiding something. The hesitation in his voice. And then an ellipsis. I didn't see anything. This suggests he's unsure of what to say. Okay. His nervous tapping and avoiding eye contact, that suggests that he might not be telling the truth. And when we've got questions where we've got to kind of think about why, we've got to really give some detail. Okay. So we can infer that he either saw something he shouldn't have, or he's afraid of the consequences of speaking up. Okay, right. So let's jump on now to our next idea here. Okay, so combining clues across the text. So obviously you're going to be having a kind of a longer extract to work with when you've got a comprehension to work with. So you might have to piece together information from different parts of the text. Sometimes small hints are spread throughout the text to help form a much bigger picture. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm just going to show you just a few examples here to get you thinking. Okay, so imagine in the extract you're seeing some of these details. Okay, so the curtains drawn, blocking out the early morning sunlight. A half-eaten meal sat on the table, untouched for hours. The front door unlocked, swaying silently in the breeze. Now, what do these clues suggest about what's happened? What kind of atmosphere do these details create? Okay, so I just want you to just spend a little bit of time now, again, just trying to think about some of these ideas. What can you see in the text that would suggest some deeper meaning? And so what do these clues kind of symbolize? Try and spend a bit of time now, again, guys, just trying to write down your answers, put some in the chat if you can, And let's just see what we can get in terms of inferring meaning from the clues that have been combined throughout this text. Imagining this is a much, much longer text here, okay? Okay, guys, let's see some of our answers here. Okay, so these clues generally are suggesting something unusual or possibly dangerous might have happened. Okay, there's drawn curtains that indicate someone might not want to have been seen, or maybe they left in a hurry before opening them before leaving. A half-eaten meal suggests that perhaps there's been some kind of interruption. Someone's maybe left suddenly or been taken away suddenly. The door's unlocked, swaying in the breeze, the door's wide open. Okay, people shut the door when you go through it. Okay, so it could imply someone forgot to lock it or has been through or left the door, left the place in a rush. This is creating a pretty eerie, suspenseful atmosphere. It makes the reader question where the person has gone, why they left so quickly. Okay, right, guys, let's have a little look at focusing on dialogue and actions. Okay, so a character's words, the tone, the body language, they can reveal their kind of true thoughts and feelings. It's really important that we are looking for the contradictions between what they say and what they do. Okay, now, I'm fine, Sarah said, forcing a smile. She picked at the hem of her sleeve, her eyes fixed on the floor. Now, some questions here, guys. Is Sarah actually fine? How do you know? What does her body language suggest? If her actions contradict her words, then what can we potentially infer about how she's actually feeling? Okay, so just spend a bit of time now, guys, just again thinking about this. What can you get here for me? What ideas can you get here? Okay, guys, let's go through. So is Sarah actually fine? No, she's not actually fine. She's forcing a smile. She's really kind of trying to hide her true emotions here, okay? The fact that she picks at her sleeve, she's avoiding eye contact, suggests she's nervous, discomfort. Her words contradict her body language, which tells us that she's likely upset, but she doesn't want to admit it, okay? This is teaching us that often actions reveal more than words in a text. And this is something you can obviously take into your creative writing as well, to show, not tell. And that's what we're always kind of pushing you to work on. So, just to recap, guys, inference. It's about looking beyond the obvious. You're using context clues, using why questions, thinking about asking questions about the text, combining clues across the text, focusing on dialogue and actions. Okay, so hopefully that's been useful, guys. You've got some details there about what you can do and how you can kind of improve that. Now, just quickly, whilst we're here, what we've got on next week might be of interest during half term. Monday 17th to Thursday 20th of Feb next week, from 9 to 11 each day, we have a half-term English course where we're running comprehension skills in the first half of the session, short break, and then creative writing skills in the second half. So you've got 8 hours of live classes with me there. We're working on all the different reading skills, how to kind of start using evidence and backing up your assumptions. They're all recorded, the lessons as well, so you can obviously watch those again and again and again. And at the end of the week, after the 8 hours have been done, you'll have a marked exam paper to that I'll go through as well. So it'll be kind of me going through a video and me kind of focusing on all the different things that you've looked at and kind of what you need to improve and develop. So if that's of use to you guys, then hopefully that will be something you can join. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to seeing everyone in next week's lesson on Wednesday. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and obviously join the Facebook group, 11+ Creative Writing Mastery.